Today, we're going to do a walk around on my 2001 Jeep Cherokee. Man, it's been a minute. I'm a little bit out of practice in all this. So I figured to ease myself back into making videos, I'd do a little walk around of my Jeep. But first, I have an announcement. So, got some exciting news. I've got a website now. theoffroadcorner.com. I want to be able to have a place where I can put all the plans for everything that I do to this Jeep. So if you guys see something you like and you would like to build it yourself, I'd have a place for you to go and you can find all that information. Can't really put all that in the description on a YouTube video, especially downloadable files. So theoffroadcorner.com is where you'll be able to find shirts, hats, stickers, hoodies, whatever you want. And then also, that's where I'll be putting all my files for any kind of fabrication parts that I do on this Jeep. So this is my 2001 Jeep Cherokee Sport 2-door, 4-wheel drive, inline 6. Just all around badass machine right here. Just the quick details on it. It's sitting on a 3-inch homebrewed lift, 32-inch TSL SSR swampers. They're 32 by 1150 on 15-inch wheels with 4 inches of back spacing. I've got a DIY front bumper here that I built. Kind of hides the winch. Out back is a tire carrier with a bumper that I built myself on my CNC plasma table. So what I want to do is to actually deep dive into everything that I've actually done to this thing. As I do the walk around on this video, I'll tag the videos where you can find all this stuff. I'll also have all the part numbers, a bunch of information down in the description below. That way if you like something you see or you got more questions, maybe you can find that information down there. We'll start with the front bumper here. It's a DIY front bumper I did, cut every piece by hand. This design I came up with, it's made up of a couple ideas on bumpers I've seen people do. It's all 3/16. The tabs are, I think, 3/4 inch plate. Plenty beefy for what I do with this bumper. The bumper actually hides a 9,000 pound rugged ridge winch with a synthetic rope. Overall, I'm happy with the design. I think it serves a purpose, but the metal finish on this compared to the rear bumper is, night and day difference. The rear bumper, if you haven't seen the video, it turned out really amazing. Better than I even thought it was going to be. So we will be redoing this bumper. I might make some slight changes to it, but overall it's going to look the same. So yeah, that's the front bumper. So like I said, it's a 3-inch homebrewed lift. Basically, I didn't buy a lift kit for this. I kind of pieced things together. It's sitting on BDS Pro Ride coils in the front, 3-inch coils. In the rear, it's a bastard pack made out of a 99 Durango leaf spring pack. The 99 Durangos, as far as I know, were the only Durangos that had a 5-leaf pack, and it was rated at 1,800 pounds, or if you do the calculation on spring rate, like the coil springs are rated, it was about 240 pounds per inch. That's what the coils are rated at, and the leaf springs are rated at 240 pounds each. Another thing that I forgot to mention about the lift is I added these Crown Performance extended brake lines. These are for a 4 to 6 inch lift on an XJ. Both front and rear shocks are KYB gas adjust shocks. Front's for a YJ 87 to 95, I believe, and the rears are basically for any 80s and up full size Ford. So your Broncos, your F-150, any Super Duties, and also 2010 and 2011 Rangers, the two-wheel drive Ranger. Those are rear shocks for those trucks. I got those on the back. When trying to find shocks for this thing, I didn't go through forums and stuff like that. I actually got on Rock Auto. And on Rock Auto, if you click the information tab on each part that you're looking up, it'll actually give you compressed lengths, extended lengths, full length travel of these shocks. So I took the stock Cherokee numbers and added a couple inches, and then just basically tried to find shocks that I thought might work. And these are the ones I stumbled upon. With the springs and the shocks that I have, it rides real nice. You just get a little bit of a bounce anytime you go over a decent sized bump. Totally livable though, if you ask me. So for tires, I'm running Super Swamper STL SSR, and the only reason I'm running those is because I have found them on Facebook Marketplace, and it was a hell of a deal. I got 4 tires, 3 of them being Swampers. The 4th one was like some off-brand Mud King, like Chinese. Says it's a 32, actually measures like 30 inches. It was just a piece of crap. I got that on the spare. So I ended up buying a brand new tire, like you can see here. I kind of got what I paid for. These things, they shake horribly at 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour. It's just kind of, if you look at the tread on them, you can understand why. They're just missing chunks everywhere. The reason I bought these tires was because they're so cheap. And I wanted to make sure that 32 inches was exactly the size that I wanted to run with this 3-inch lift. Kind of get me in the ballpark of where I actually want to be. And kind of understand what the stance is going to look like. As far as wheels, I'm running these Soft 8s by Tactic. They're a 5x8 with a 4-inch back spacing. Great wheels just because they're so cheap. I think each one of these wheels is like 40 bucks with the center cap. Not a bad deal. Front fenders have been cut, as you can see. I still have a little bit of the original, holes where the fender flare mounted, but not much. When you get back here, it's cut out pretty significantly. I got about 6 inches of vertical up travel that I can have. I have Daystar extended bump stops with 2 pucks per corner to kind of keep these tires from hitting the fender too much. I forgot to talk about the rear bump stops, but they're Crown and Automotive extended bump stops for an XJ. And then I got an 1.25 inch piece of square tube that I welded to the frame to kind of give me enough room so these rear tires don't get up into the fender well. And going forward, if I go up in tire, obviously I'm going to have to lift it, but I'd like to keep that 6 inches of up travel at the fender, just kind of as a base. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a low center of gravity build, but I think it's just tasteful, really. The tires aren't huge. You don't have a huge gap right here. It's not real short either, where you have no up travel. Just kind of in the middle. What I would consider as a usable lift. Up front, I've got stock steering, stock track bar, stock control arms. Pretty much all the front end is stock. So let's take a look underneath the hood. I know what you're thinking. You're looking at this engine bay like, dang, that is clean. Well, I actually cleaned that with the product that I got in the mail. Let me show you. Not sponsored or anything. Ben from Super Clean sent me a package with all this stuff in it, and he just asked me to review it, give it my honest opinion, show it to you guys. I'm not affiliated with these guys. I don't know these guys. Any kind of a review. It's just the first company that's ever reached out to me and do something like this, you know, the whole YouTube thing. Biodegradable, that's nice, super clean. I used this aerosol can and emptied it. Not just on this engine bay, I actually used it on the plasma table over here. You know, never mind the slats being all rusty and everything, but used it before I painted it. It took off most of the rust and all the dirt and all the crap on there. You know, very little effort. I was pretty happy with it. You know, and it cleaned this engine bay up quite a bit. I mean, this spot, you can see a little bit in here because my power washer freaking sucks. But it cleaned right down to the paint. The thing with this stuff is you don't want to leave it setting on paint or aluminum or anything like that, because it can actually react and actually kind of lift paint and oxidize aluminum and stuff like that. But I left it on this portion of the intake, let it bubble a little bit, and it did pretty good. But you got your aerosol, you got your kind of original spray bottle stuff. They've got a wheel cleaner for all you detailing guys. This was something I didn't know about, is a floor absorbent. We'll see how that works in a future video, because Lord knows I always spill stuff, especially when we're going to do the cylinder head on the Jeep. I haven't really tried this one. Then they have this foaming one, which is, it's nice, you know, get more coverage, you know, clean stuff. Overall, I like it. Never used it before. I've always bought other brands and figured I'd give it a shot. So thank you, Ben, for sending me these products. You guys should give it a try if you're looking for a degreaser. Okay, so what we have here, I've got an AGM battery, nothing special there. I did upgrade all the wiring for the battery and the alternator and the starter. This is 2-aught cable, new terminals here. You know, everything's run from the battery to the chassis, you know, the battery to the PDC. I have a 250 amp alternator fuse right here, and this line runs down to the alternator. Bit overkill. This kind of stuff, these wires are ones that I do not want to have to worry about. Now the alternator on this Jeep is a 160 amp alternator. Literally bolts right in with just some minor grinding on the mounting bracket, and this 160 amp alternator will fit right in. 4 liter, nothing special other than it's got a cracked cylinder head right now. So I have the new cylinder head. I'm just waiting for the machine shop to finish doing a valve job on the new cylinder head. I got a tuppy head from I believe it's a WJ, but be more videos on that. The winch down in front is kind of your standard style winch, where it's pretty much a drum, a motor, and a brake with a control box that you can actually remote mount. And what I've done is I've moved the control box for the winch up here just to save me room down on the bumper. When we go to the interior, I'll show you the in-cab winch controls that I put, so that way I don't have to run, you know, the winch switch and everything right through here, and then like try and pinch it through this hood and hope I don't kink anything, you know. So out back here we've got my tire carrier and rear bumper setup. I built this less than a year ago, and I've been actually really happy with the way it turned out. It's got your recovery points, your swing out. The pivot here is kind of self-made from a solid piece of 2-inch stock, drilled for a 1-inch bolt, and it's got actual oil light bearings in the top and bottom. It works great. So this is what it looks like with the swing out, all the way swung out. You got your handle here. Yeah, you push it down. So conveniently I put these holes in here for no reason. Had to modify the handle a little bit because it actually touched the bumper when you actually hit the latch to open it. But here's the latch. Nothing special, just a dual action latch. This right here is a piece of nylon that I have, so that way when it's closed it sits on this piece of nylon, and that way the swing out doesn't just keep chattering on this. When you close the tire carrier, it actually sits on here. It gives you kind of 3 points of contact. You got this one, and this one. So it kind of supports the weight a little bit, keeping most of the weight, keeping some of the weight off of this hinge. As you can see, my piss poor paint job is already rusting. That's real convenient. The latch that's on it is for an M939 military truck. It's a 5-ton truck. I found it on Amazon. When I bought it, it didn't come with a striker, so I used one from, I believe, a Mercury. It's either a Mercury or a Ford. You can find that at O'Reilly's in their help section. Here's the handle. Basically, that keeps this tire carrier from swinging closed on you. For some reason, if you're like parked on a hill, it wouldn't swing closed on you. So basically, you pull it up, and then you can push the tire carrier in. That kind of gets it started. And then this piece of metal back here is actually on an angle, so that way when you sling it closed, it actually retracts that pin. There's only one hole in that plate underneath that pin, and that's only to hold the carrier open. On the back side of this tire swing out, tire carrier, whatever you want to call it, I've got a mount for the CB antenna. I don't have the actual CB antenna in there because it sticks about 3 or 4 feet above the roof of the Jeep, and my garage is only like 7 foot tall, so you know it clips the door every time I pull in, so I have to take the antenna off of it. This bumper is great. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. I might take it off and repaint it. It holds my Chinese size 32-inch spare tire and a license plate. I've got a little light underneath there, so I'm legal again, and my Harbor Freight jack. So you got the full-size spare. I've got a Harbor Freight jack mounted on it. Honestly, I've never even used that jack. You know, it's really just on there to up my street cred, I think. Pretty much just sits there. The one thing I'd like to add to this, the whole tire swing out deal, is a shovel somewhere. I could see a shovel being really, really nice to have. Let's check and see what's in the back. Okay, got my cool guy light set up, shading this thing real nice. Oh man, look at that, it's beautiful. Anyways, this is my drawer system and my sleeping platform. Convertible sleeping platform, I don't know what you call it. It's basically got 2 drawers. The slides that I've used are crap. I shouldn't say the slides are crap. The guy that installed the slides did a terrible job, and they don't really slide too well. But you know, it holds what I want and what I need. Maybe not so much what I need. It holds a lot of stuff. Basically what I'm trying to get at. This side is basically tools, you know, paper towels, hammers, gloves, trash bag. You know, I got a poncho back there. It's got sockets, pliers, way too many tools that I need to fix this Jeep. Probably not enough of the tools that I actually need, but tools. This side is recovery gear. I've got rugged ridge. I believe it's the XD recovery kit. I don't know what it's really called. Came with the winch. So it's got a tree strap. It's got a snatch block. It's got a shackle, and I believe it's a 25-foot, maybe a 20-foot tow strap. But I got spare parts. I've got binoculars in case you want to be a creep on some animals or something like that. I got my winch cable. In case my in-cab switches don't work for some reason. Sunscreen. The essentials. Fan belt. Once again, probably way more than I actually need, but this is what I got. Overall, happy with the design, but I will be changing it in the future. Just for the simple fact that I plan on removing the rear seat and kind of making a permanent sleeping platform. Storage might change. Believe it or not, this thing's actually really heavy. I mean, it's so heavy that I can't pick up the whole thing. Obviously, got 600 pounds worth of tools and other junk. But the actual platform itself is made out of 3/4 inch plywood and is actually pretty heavy. So one thing I might change is go a little bit lighter on the plywood. We'll see how that works. But these drawers push in. I just got some lanyards. I don't know what you call them. These, you get them with all your winches. This is the first thing you throw away when you buy a new winch. But it's a pull lanyard so you don't put your fingers in the drum. I don't know why you would, but got the cool worn one on this one. Gotta represent. Now, part of the convertible sleeping platform that I have here is I've basically got these work surfaces that I've basically put in here. There's no stop on these, so a guy could pull this all the way out onto his foot, smash his shin if he really wanted to. But you can pull this out. You can put your stove on here, bacon, eggs, whatever. Maybe you want avocado toast. I don't know who you are or what you eat, so this is where you do that. But these will actually push in to where they make the other part of the sleeping platform. So you basically fold the seat down and push these forward. I have a 2x4 with 2 sets of hinges on there that goes across the cup holders in the back, and that basically makes your platform. We'll go over that. Once this is converted, I can actually sleep right along this passenger side. Actually, I could pick either, passenger side or driver's side, but I really only put one side out because it's just me, maybe the dog. But I get a lot of questions on if I can actually sleep lengthwise in this or if I have to sleep diagonal. Normally this wouldn't be here, so imagine that this isn't there. It actually works having this up, but I didn't really design it that way. It's supposed to actually sit on the armrest. But the 2x4 will span the cup holders in both of these little pockets here and kind of give these pieces of wood something to sit on. So this is what I built. Literally got an inner hinge and an outer hinge. Put it in the cup holders. And you just shove that dude back in. Right. Doesn't seem very solid, but it is. This just kind of holds, kind of keeps the seams from rubbing on places where you don't want them to rub. So the way this would work is I'd climb in from the driver's seat and lay right here. My head would be on that side. And then my feet would be right here. Bet you guys didn't realize you were going to watch a fat man struggle. Normally I'd have this lift gate down, but for filming purposes I need my cool guy light here so you guys can actually see me. I don't even know if you can actually see me. But basically my feet are resting on the back of the seat, and my head is right where the glass from the hatch would be. Kind of hard to realize. But you can see, just barely outside. But yeah, totally works. And I don't even have the seats pushed forward at all. So I'm let's see, I'm about 5'12", 5'13" on a good day. You can take that as a measurement, I guess. I did design this with another piece of plywood that went over the center console. Honestly, I've never even used it, but it's made to where you push the front seats all the way forward, and it actually gives you a little bit more room. Don't actually think I need it, because most of the weight's right here on this seam where the plywood meets the plywood, basically where these two surfaces meet. So, you know, your feet, you don't actually need your feet supported in any way. And one thing I'm missing from this whole setup is I actually have an inflatable mattress. It's like it's just kind of a real thin air mattress. And that was a game changer when I put that in there, because it kind of makes the angle changes and, you know, any rough seams that you might have in this setup a little bit more friendly to sleep on. So a little bit more comfortable at least. So definitely worth buying. I don't know if I ever showed you guys this, but I ended up getting my headliner redone at school. Couldn't really, you know, video while I was at school. One of the other students actually did it for me. And you might notice that it is tan. And my speaker grills are gray. Really, at this point, if you guys seen my headliner, it basically deteriorated when I moved out to Wyoming, to where I just ended up taking this fabric that you see here and just ripping it off and dealing with the foam just raining down on me. So this is much better than what I had before. Just sucks that it's not the right color. But hey, we'll live with it. All right, moving on. What makes sleeping lengthwise in this Jeep possible is the fact that this is a two-door. I don't know if I went over that, but this is a two-door. If I didn't show that already, whatever. So the two doors actually have seats where the seat back folds forward. That actually gives me the ability to sleep lengthwise in this and have my feet basically hang off the edge of the sleeping platform. Okay, so as far as the front driver's seat compartment area, where you operate this Jeep at, it's pretty barren. Not much going on here. I do have one upgrade that I haven't showed you guys, and that's the fact that I'm running a 10-inch Samsung Galaxy Tab 4 10-inch tablet. Basically, I use this to run Gaia GPS. If you've ever used Gaia GPS, you know what it is. If you haven't, I'll leave a link down in the description. No affiliation. I just like the app. It's free to use. They do have a pay version that gives you kind of better maps. That's actually what I got. I don't even know what the name of the maps are, but it's nice. You know, you can download your maps beforehand, because God knows when you get on the trail, that's exactly when you lose service. What I've got here is a ram mount. These are 1-inch balls, maybe 3/4, but I don't know what you'd call this. I kind of pieced this all together. Basically, it's a stud mounted ball over here, literally just glued and nut and bolted into the radio surround bezel thing. Would not recommend doing it this way. I just wanted to make sure that this is where I wanted it, and I'd come up with some kind of a mount in the future. It's mounted to the back of this Otter box for the tablet. I don't know what series this is, but it's the one that comes with like this plastic cover. Pretty cheap and easy. I think I paid less than like $30 for this whole setup. But it's basically just bolted through this piece. So you can take your tablet. Hopefully I don't break this thing off here. You can take your tablet off, and that's what you're left with. The dirty whatever this is. Alright, so we got the tablet mount. And then next thing is the CB right here. And I don't really use too often. But it's nice to have, like on the trail, so you can communicate with Jeeps in front of you and behind you. This is just the El Cheapo Uniden, $40 radio. It works. Turns on when I need it to, turns off when I don't. Seems to have good quality. So the only other thing that I have up here is my switches for the in-cab winch control. So you got the power to the winch controller. Turns on, you get these pretty blue lights. Oh God, they are so pretty. And then you just, you got your in and your out. That's it. I have an on-off switch just so you're not in here, kids or whatever. Dog gets in here and decides to, roll the winch in or whatever. Can't do that unless you flip both of them on. Pretty easy. Pretty proud of that. Never mind the little scratch here. Okay. So that's the Jeep in a nutshell. As far as plans for the future, not in any sort of order, but I'd like to do 2x6 rock sliders on this. Cut out these rusty rocker panels that I got. And put those in. That way I have some form of protection on the side. I haven't done any rock crawling yet, but it's kind of one of those things I'd rather have them there before I completely mangle these doors. So we'll put those on before I need them. I'd like to do frame stiffeners this year, just to kind of preserve the frame that I got. It's not cracking or anything, but if you get pretty serious with lifts and tires and flexing and stuff, there's a good chance that the frame will crack. And I don't really want to have to deal with that. So putting the stiffeners on there will kind of preserve what I have now. There'll be a video on that. We're going to redo this front bumper, cut it out on the CNC plasma. We'll redesign this thing a little bit. So there's that. I like to do some kind of like quarter panel armor with integrated fender flares. I've been tossing around the idea of kind of doing like affordable off-roads stuff is pretty good, and Rusty's off-road is pretty good. but they want like $700 for all 4 of them. I feel like I can do it for, I feel like I can make those for about half that at least. We'll see. Steel prices keep going up, so fabrication might slow down. We'll see how that works out. There'll be videos on that. I'd like to put some kind of a fender flare on them, because this Jeep, without any fender flares, if I hit any kind of a puddle and there's mud or dirt or anything, you bet your sweet ass that it's going to be on the side of this Jeep in a heartbeat. So, to save the environment, save on water, saving having to wash this thing every 3 days, we're going to put some fender flares on it with the quarter panel armor. You know, up my street cred a little bit, and maybe cover up some of the cancer this thing's got. I have 410 gears that I want to put into this. Bought them for another Jeep, probably 3 Jeeps ago. They've been on a shelf in my basement for at least 5 years. But do 410 gears, probably not the most ideal setup for 33s, but we'll see. Give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? I'd have to swap them out for 456s. Not a big deal. But when we do those gears, we will also do lunchbox style lockers. I have 2 Spartan lockers to put in also. So gears and lockers. I don't want to spend a lot of money on these axles because I eventually want to upgrade them. In one of my other videos, you guys saw the Dana 44 that I have. That's a Dana 44 out of a 76 F100. So it's a high pinion Dana 44 with a driver's side drop. So we'll do a custom 4-link for that eventually. Probably not going to be this year. I'd like to get new tires. Like I said, we'll upgrade to like a 33. I have to figure out what brand I want to go with. Yeah, I don't want to sink a lot of money into these axles because, you know, and I have no plans of actually keeping them in there. I want to do some onboard air. You guys see my Moab video. I didn't air down for that because didn't check to see if the Maverick around the corner actually had air, so I could actually air back up. So me being lazy, I didn't air down. That hurt me quite a bit, but still had fun. So I would like to have some kind of onboard air. I actually have a Viair pump that I've had for years. Never put it in any Jeeps, so we'll do that. So onboard air. Yeah, I think that's about it. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to support the channel, check out my website, theoffroadcorner.com. I'm not even sure what I'm going to put on there yet, but I got t-shirts, hoodies, hats, stickers on there now. So if you feel like supporting the channel, best way to do it. All proceeds for that kind of stuff is going to go right back into this Jeep. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Sorry it took so long to get out another video, but they're going to start coming in now that we got the Jetta back and working. So thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.